Welcome to Toxrill, the Corrosive. As far as opening hand goes, yeah, we'll keep on this one. It's a one-lander, but I like what we got going on. We got a Ponder with one land, and yeah, everything else is good. We just got to get to 2 mana. Yeah, we can make this work. Keep your fingers crossed. Yeah, if you've got your scorecard at home, keep your fingers crossed. Pray to the magic gods for another land. So let's go ahead and lead off with Polluted Delta. Let's go ahead and crack Polluted Delta, grab ourselves a Underground Sea. I play with these cards all the time, but I forget the dual names sometimes. There we go. All right, so let's go and lead off with Ponder. And Ponder Alert, if you didn't know, there's somebody hanging out in the background of Ponder. They've been there the whole time, since M12. That's a long time that person's been staring at you. Pretty creepy. All right, so we've got Deep Glow. We've got Worn Power Stone. And if we don't hit a land off of those, we'll put them on we'll put them on top of any order. Let's shuffle our library and hopefully, all right, there we go. We're drawn to Forbidden Orchard. We'll take that. Anything else, let's go and pass it over to our opponent. But yes, welcome to Toxrill. Hope you're excited to get some black-blue control. Some Planeswalkers mixed in the mix. And hopefully we can sludge our opponent's tokens up. That should be a lot of fun. My production assistant, Dorothy, which is my cat, just came over and said, "Hey, put me in your lap." So there we go. All right, so now we are situated. We've got the full force of Jolt and Dorothy against our opponent. They don't know what's coming. All right, so let's go and lead off with Forbidden Orchard, and we might just end up demonic tutoring for Mana Crypt. I think that's a good deal. Yeah, because then that puts us on Chromatic Lantern, and we go Ob Nixilis. Yeah, let's just go and do that. We do give our opponent a token, so they can start swinging away at us, and that does pump up their Prime Speaker, so this should be an interesting game. Hopefully we can get rid of the Forbidden Orchard Spirit tokens before Prime Speaker comes down. That's going to be pretty important. So let's get this popped out. Let's grab ourselves a Mana Crypt, and we don't need to go for that just yet. And then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. We're playing Toxrill, Corrosive. Let's get them all sludgy up. At the beginning of each end step, put a slime counter on each creature you don't control. Then creatures you don't control get -1/-1 for each slime counter on them. Then, whenever a creature you don't control with the slime counter on it dies, create a 1/1 black slug creature token. Then, if you're still keeping score at home, for a Dimir activation, sacrifice a slug and draw a card. All right, so we run into Sudden Spoiling. Let's go Mana Crypt. Let's go and get Mana Crypt out there. And let's go for Chromatic Lantern. Our opponent did not swing in with the Spirit token. Not sure why on that, but we will see. Maybe they've got a game plan going. Let's get Chromatic Lantern down, and then anything else. Yeah, we're good. We're simply just going to go and pass the turn. Play gets Prime Speaker. Prime Speaker enters the battlefield with... Let's get it popped out. There we go. Prime Speaker Zegana enters the battlefield with X+1 counters on it, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Then whenever Prime Speaker enters the battlefield, draw cards equal to its power. And opponent's going to go for a Mystical Tutor, and that's going to be a Time Twister, which we will certainly welcome. And also, welcome to Magic Online, Commander. You get Mana Crypts and Time Twisters. It's so much fun. So much fun. All right, let's go and choose Tails on this one. Won the flip. Yeah, we'll look up Time Twister and the cost of Mana Crypt here in a little bit. All right, so run into Teferi. And so I guess we go, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got 5 mana. And I think at this point, if our opponent's going to go for Time Twister, I feel a little bit better with Ob Nixilis out there. I think that's going to be a better option. So let's do that. So actually that gives them some Spirit token. No, we got Chromatic Lantern, so we can dodge that. But whenever it becomes tapped, they're still going to get the Spirit token. So that's going to be 2. We plus up. Yeah, I think we're good with that. We got to, yeah, let's just go Ob Nixilis. We'll make it work. It's going to be 1, 2. Give them a Spirit token. Why not? We're here to have some fun. So let's get the Spirit token trigger on the battlefield, or get the token for them on the battlefield. We'll get Ob Nixilis down. Let's move this down just a little bit so we can see what's going on with the stack. There we go. Get Ob Nixilis down. Let's go and go for the +1. Yeah, because we're going to draw a card. That's going to put Ob Nixilis goes up to 6, and that does give us a lane drop for the turn. So we'll take that. So let's drop in Marsh Flats. And then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. So we did cover both commanders. Let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors, TCG Player. If you go to bit.ly/JoltMTG, that will apply my affiliate link. That'll allow you to get some cards and help support the channel at the same time. So if you do use that link, much obliged. I certainly appreciate that. Let's give a quick shout out to MTGOTraders. If you want to play the Wild West of Commander with Time Twister and Mana Crypt, give a shout out to them. Let's give a quick shout out to inkgaming.com/Jolt for 10% off of your order. if you're looking to upgrade your playmat game for your next spell table game. And last but not least, I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to directly support cool content like this, there's a link down in the description below. But if you're keeping score at home with all the little slug tokens, it's officially free time. Let's have some fun. So let's see if our opponent's going to swing in with the spirit tokens this go. All right, so we're going to see him swing in. All right, so it's going to be knocking Obnixilis down to 4. And we've got sudden spoiling for next turn if we want to save Obnixilis, so we've got some options. So let's go and crack Marsh Flats, grab ourselves a tapped dual source. That way we don't draw into that later in the game. Let's get that pulled out. And I think, yeah, we'll just go and grab Ice Tunnel, because no matter when we draw that, it'll come into play tap, so be good to go. All right, so we'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're 1 away from Toxrill. And I do like getting the sludge tokens going if we can. So let's go and choose tails on this one. 1 the flip. And come on, let's see. All right, so we don't run into a land. Let's go for Obnixilis, draw a card, lose a life. We're looking for a land. Let's go. All right, so we run into Hedron Archive. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so we're not going to be able to go for it just yet. If we do end up going to Fairy, that's going to be 1, 2... because we're looking at 3, and that still keeps Obnixilis around. I think what we do on this is we just ramp right now, because that gives us the best bet to make sure that we can go for Toxrill for next turn. So let's tap down 1, 2. We'll tap down Ice Tunnel, and that still gives us 4 with Hedron Archive. And yeah, I kind of like going for Teferi. I think that does work out. So let's do that. Let's tap down Hedron Archive for 2 more. And we'll be able to get Teferi on the battlefield. I like that. All right, so it's going to be an extra spirit token for our opponent. And this is one of the fun things about playing Toxrill is that, you know, you can run a lane like this, give them spirit tokens, and then just have an instant KO for Toxrill as soon as Toxrill enters the battlefield, which is always a lot of fun. And we'll also talk about while we're going Planeswalkers here in a little bit. So let's go draw a card, then discard a card. We've got some good stuff. We might end up... What do we want to dump on this one? I think since we do have the flashback option on Mass Diminish, we're just going to put that into the graveyard. Yeah, I like that. So we can always end up going for that. Let's make the land drop. That's going to be Sunken Hollow. And then anything else, pass the turn to our opponent. So we do have a Teferi activation that we can go for during our opponent's turn. I will keep that in mind. But yes, with the Planeswalkers for Toxrill, one of the things that, if you're building Toxrill, is Toxrill costs 7 mana. It's going to be a pretty big target at the battlefield. And so... you know, simply having some sort of threat out there that your opponent wants to deal with, maybe they spend some of their resources, their spot removal to get rid of a Planeswalker. You're just trying to clear the way as much as, you're just trying to clear the way for Toxrill to enter the battlefield. Sorry, I was trying to figure out what our opponent went for with Regrowth, but it was just, I'll check the chat here in a second. But yeah, basically, you just want to have threats out before you go for Toxrill. That way your opponent's spending resources on it. Or let's say that we finally get Toxrill down. Now we've got Planeswalker backup to kind of, you know, clean up some of this. All right, opponent's going to go for Time Twister. We will wait for Teferi after that Time Twister. Okay. So I actually like what we drew into. We got Heartless Act. There's going to be some good spot removal. We drew into Tezzeret for the first time. We got Mana Drain, and we do have Meat Hook Massacre and some good ramp. So we've got some good stuff moving for next turn. So let's get Toxrill popped down. And our opponent is not going for Prime Speaker. So we're in a pretty good spot, and hopefully that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're actually going to have just enough in case our opponent does have some sort of counter magic with Pluto Delta to go for Mana Drain protection with Toxrill. So that should be some pretty good spirit tokens. So let's see how they decide to swing in before we go for that Teferi activation. But yeah, you know, one of the other reasons why we're running Planeswalkers in here is that if you don't have Planeswalker removal, we got the whole crew swinging in at Teferi. So let's go for the +1, draw a card, then discard a card. And look at that. Look at that Commander Sphere. I love it. All right, so we run into Telling Time. I think what we'll end up dropping off this one is we'll just get rid of Chart a Course. I think that's fine. We got the instant speed option in Telling Time, so we're fine with that right now. All right, so Teferi pumps up to a 5. That's going to protect Teferi on the battlefield. Knock it down to a 1. And we've got some good stuff to go from there. Yeah, with the Planeswalkers, and also, we're not running like a dedicated proliferate package in here, but it does work out with getting those slime counters, and it really does work out with your Planeswalkers once you get into the late game, but we've got some good stuff to go for this turn. So let's go and choose Tails on this Mana Crypt Trigger. 1 the flip, we are, I think, 1 for 1 on those, and then we hit Vampiric Tutor. Okay, so we've got Counterspell backup. Let's go and go for Toxrill. That's going to be 1, 2... Let's get Toxrill onto the battlefield. And then let's tap down. That's going to be black. We'll tap down 2 for Mana Crypt. And I think we still end up going for a Forbidden Orchard. Yeah, I like that because it's going to give us an extra slug token. And then we tap down Chromatic Lantern. There we go. All right, so we've got double blue left available. We're going to give our opponent a Spirit token. And even if they do have some sort of counter magic, we've got the option with Mana Drain to stop it. So let's get Toxrill down. And let's go for Teferi. Let's go for the -3 on Azusa. Because I just don't want them to have a good Prime Speaker with any creatures out there. So we're going to go for the -3 on Azusa. And then we can go for the +1 on Teferi. Let's go for the +1, draw a card, then discard a card. And that's going to be, you find the villain's lair. Yeah, and actually we want to hold on to counter magic on this one. So let's go ahead and drop at this time. We've got what we need as far as card advantage goes. We've got tutors, we've got spot removal, we've got counter magic. We're going to hold on to that. So anything else, let's go and pass the turn over to our opponent. So we do need to discard down to hand size. And I think what we'll end up dropping is probably dropping Mind Stone. All right, so let's get these slug tokens on the battlefield. Oh, yeah. Cute little slug tokens. I like it. All right, so we get the slug tokens down. And then, yeah, anything else pass the turn. So we will discard Mind Stone because we've got some good gas in the hand right now. And let's see what this is from our opponent. It's going to be Mystical Tutor. And so this might be a Cyclonic Rift. And if they do end up going Cyclonic Rift, the only good thing is it's going to be a big chunk of their mana. Maybe they've got... And I need to get the actual game log portion pulled up because I need to see what they... Okay, so we'll see what they grab here in a second. Let's go to the end step. Let's go and discard Commander Sphere because no, I have the chat pulled up right now. There we go. We'll discard Commander Sphere and we're good to go. But sometimes they have the game log in here, and I don't know where the game log went. So unfortunately, I think they grabbed Regrowth, or maybe they already went for Regrowth with Mystical Tutor. Whatever it is, they put it on top. So we'll see what this is. But yeah, this is exactly what you want to do with Toxrill. Get down some good mid-range threats with you know, your Planeswalkers of Nixilis Teferi. You know, kind of flood the board with some Forbidden Orchard style tokens. And that's the good thing about Forbidden Orchard is you can just kind of keep tapping it turn after turn because this is an in-step thing. So you can immediately get rid of a creature. All right, so that's going to be Jace. Target player mills 2 cards, draw a card. Okay, I'm not super scared of that. So I'd rather hold on to Mana Drain. And that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so target player mills 2 cards, draw a card. So they're going to go for the mill option on us, which that's okay. If they do end up doing that, I'm pretty sure, yeah, we've got Snapcaster in here. So if they do end up going for the Jace activations where we keep milling, we can always end up Vampiric Tutoring for Snapcaster, and we'll be in a pretty good spot to do that. So let's see what our opponent's tapping out for the turn. Next turn, very thankfully, Toxrill, even though it is a very big commander, yeah, we got spot removal. We can let that happen. The good thing about Toxrill, even though it is 7 mana, sometimes you end up with these like a 3/7 or just kind of these weird creatures, and that's going to be Neoform, which they sacrificed. Okay, so to stop yeah, let's do it. Let's go Mana Drain on this one because if there's an enter the battlefield effect that we don't like, I don't want that to happen. So we're gonna go Mana Drain. All right, opponent's gonna scoop it up on that one. So we're in a position to basically grind the game out from now. We've got Ob Nixilis that we're going for. We've got Teferi going for the looting option. With that Time Twister, that set us up in a really good spot. We've got counter magic, we've got spot removal, we've got board wipe and Meat Hook Massacre. We're basically in a position to kind of let this game be ours because we can control what they're getting down with counter magic. We can remove stuff with spot removal. And then also, you know, with like I was mentioning earlier with Toxrill, it's a 7/7. And so swinging across with the extra slug tokens that tagged along, that's going to be coming across for 11. That's also going to be the next turn. We get the Forbidden Orchard going. There we go. So all in all, that's exactly what we're going for. If you're thinking about building Toxrill, I cannot recommend having Planeswalkers in there enough and also having enough mana. It is so important that when you do end up going for Toxrill, that you have enough mana to get Toxrill down and have some sort of counterspell back up. Makes a huge difference. But anyway, if you enjoyed your time with Toxrill, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.